Hello everyone. It's your girl Marion with Restoring Ghettos Forgotten, and I'm here again today with another conversational piece. And the topic today is going to be young adulthood and responsibilities. Young adulthood and responsibilities. Please excuse the outside noise because I'm driving. I'm on my way to my next destination, and unfortunately I can't sit outside that destination and make this video, so I'm gonna have to do it as I'm driving. I'm just dropping off my daughter parents to school. But today this topic is very important because I think sometimes we all need a little help in adjusting to young adults still being in the home. First of all, I wanted to start off because this is a message to young adults, actually. So what I wanted to say is, congratulations. I'm sure, your parents are proud of you for graduating from high school and moving on to college. And because of COVID, a lot of kids are still at home. Like, they chose not to go live on campus. And so they're at home with their parents, doing online classes and whatever the case may be. And I know for me, for a fact, I'm perfectly fine with my grown children being at home, because I would rather them be at home with me under my roof, being protected and covered and still nurtured. But there's still some things that I ask for them to do on their own, for them to grow up and take responsibility and accountability for their living space. That's where the problem arises for most parents that have their young adults at home, is because, they, like our elders used to say, they start smelling themselves and they think that they're grown, and then they don't want to listen. But I'm here to tell you, even if you're an adult and for whatever reason you lost your place and you had to go back home and stay with somebody, or it doesn't even have to be family, it could be a friend. You have to understand that you're accountable for your living space. You're accountable for how you live. And many times than not, the young adults that staying at home with their parents, like they just graduated from high school, they're in college, and we applaud you guys for that, because that's a big step. That's a big step towards your journey that you're on, and a lot of us are very proud and excited for you to be going to college. But just going to school is not enough. You have to learn how to balance your life, especially if you have a little part-time job or whatever, and you have school and then you have your home life. What this video is about is, we don't want you to miss your home life, which means you have a responsibility to clean your room and to clean your living environment, like wherever you live. It could be in the loft upstairs, it could be in a room, it could be, and then you have your own, you may be sharing a restroom. You got to consider the fact that you're not the only one living there, that there are other people living there, and you need to hold your own weight, especially if your parents are not asking you for rent, light bill, gas bill, water bill. They're not asking you for anything. They just want you to go to school, make really good grades, bring your GPA up so that you can be a success story in college. And so some parents have chosen, I know that I have chosen, I don't ask my young adult we don't ask her for anything. We just want her to, the money that she makes at her job, that's for her expenses. That just means I don't have to do as much as I used to do before she got grown, but I'm still providing for her in a sense of shelter over her head and her not having to pay utilities and food and all of those things. I'm still the provider in that sense. And so, but what I do ask, and what I think most parents ask of their young adults, is that we ask you to, kind of hold your own. That means, okay, you're 18 now, or you're 19. Some people, some children may have been home their whole college career. And so now you're in your 20s, but that doesn't mean that you get to not help out in the home. And what I mean by that is that we need to always be community minded, not so individual minded. Because once you take on the individual approach, everybody around you is going to be miserable. So that means, you know, clean up behind yourself. And you would think by now children would know that, but let me tell you, you guys are missing it. I think sometimes parents, they just want the clean, immaculate house. And so when you were growing up, whatever you didn't do, they probably just overdone, and they cleaned up, you know, and kept everything tidy. But now it's getting to the point that where we have to show you guys how to be responsible and accountable. And we can't do that doing everything for you. And so, and another most important thing about your living space and your living environment, making sure it's clean, neat, and orderly. I don't think I've ever seen a kid fail classes or a kid fail in school that was neat, organized, and tidy. I don't think I've ever seen it. Most of the time when kids are failing, they're unorganized, they're not clean, they're not neat. They just wake up in the morning and throw something on and go off to school. And their grades kind of reflect that. That's sometimes. Now, I know there's some really, really smart people that are like that, but very few. Most people that I know or I've seen or I've paid attention to, they're very neat, they're very organized, and they're very methodical in how they get their work done and how they clean their areas and all of that. And so it's good for our psyche to wake up in the morning and not have trash everywhere and not have junk everywhere. Me personally, I cannot function in a disorganized space. It's going to put me in a very bad mood. My life is not going to feel organized. And so I just can't do it. I can't. And so I don't see how anyone could do that, because, and it kind of shows in your results. It shows in your results. If you want to be an A student, but you're not organized, you don't keep a planner on what assignments is due when and how, and when you have to have it turned in, when the deadline is, and then you miss assignments and you lose points when you get that old assignment in, your grades are not going to be as high as the kid that keep a planner and they stick to their schedule and they put their education first. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. I know times are hard and we're facing COVID and all of these other financial challenges in the world, but education is key. You know, it's key. Even if you're planning on being an entrepreneur, you need to learn how to run your business. So you need a college education. And so you have to make sure you invest, and not only invest in your grades, your GPA and all that, but you have to make sure you're putting that before your job. Because I tell you what happens a lot of times, our kids do. They get comfortable in working a full-time job, and then eventually they stop going to school. And even though this full-time job is just a small amount of pay, it's never gainful employment. So they'll never be able to get the things that they may want, need, and desire working these jobs without an education. So education is extremely important. And I don't know how many times, you know, parents have to sit their kids down and say, hey, you know, your grades are slipping. You know, you need to really start working as much and just focus on school. Especially if you're still at home and your parents are still covering the cost. Take care of that, you know, to be able to get your grades up, graduate, and have that degree backing you. Even if you want to be an entrepreneur, take those classes that are going to help teach you how to be one. But focus on your education. These jobs can wait. Work part-time. If you have to work at all, work part-time just to have your little extra money for your personal things. But don't put your job before your education. Education should always come first. And a lot of people fall in that trap. And some people even say, okay, I'm going to take a year off. Some young adults may say, I'm going to take a year off. You know, I'm kind of tired. You know, I really don't like school. And then they take that year off, and then that year turns into the next year, and then that year turns into the next year. And before you know it, they're 26 years old without an education. And they can't even get a decent job. And so then they have to go back to school. Why not just finish it as soon as you get out of high school, get that education part out the way, and focus on being the best version of yourself. And one complaint that I've heard from some children around me is that, from some youth that are around me, that say, well, you know what, you know, people get education. Some people even get bachelor's and master's degree, and they still kind of work 2 jobs or whatever. And that's true. I know some adults that have to. Excuse me. And so I know that's true. But one thing you don't want to do is not have an education, because that's going to make you even fall further back, you know, way back into the line. What I've noticed with youth, when they go and they get their college degree, then they, you know, opportunities are afforded to them a lot sooner or at a more advanced rate when you have a college degree. Because of your age, they feel like they can train you, you're teachable, so they're going to hire you at an early age, versus when you're past 26, once you get over into the 30s and the late 30s, you don't stand a chance. You really don't. So it's best to go ahead and take care of your education, put your education first, and make sure you're participating in your home life, wherever that is. This is even for college kids that are on campus. You don't want to live with your roommate and not keep a clean area, you know, living environment. Because I've seen some videos where young, hotsy, pretty young girls, you know, college girls are at school and their friends put them on blast because they're nasty. You don't want that to happen, especially if social media, your social media presence is important to you. You trust me, you don't want that to happen. So this video is meant to help our youth understand that there's more important than scrolling your phone all day, because a lot of time that's wasted is wasted on your phone. I mean, it really is. I want to say more about that, but I won't. But a lot of time that's wasted is wasted scrolling. I mean, if you can honestly say you scroll your phone for a whole hour or two, those 2 hours could have been used in cleaning up your living space, cleaning the restroom, organizing your homework schedule, you know, making sure you have all your assignments, and reading a book, you know, something that's going to build you and not tear you down. Because I guarantee you, the more you scroll and you see all the falsehoods on your social media pages, the less you're going to feel good about yourself, especially if most of that stuff is exaggerated and false. So why not spend that time focusing on reading, investing into your future, your career, building yourself up? It has nothing to do with scrolling social media. I'm sorry, but I don't think that it does. So again, this is a challenge. This is a challenge to all young adults to make sure you are focused. Make sure you get your put your education first before any part-time job. Make sure when you're living at home or even when you're on campus that you're carrying your weight, because as an adult you need to learn how to be accountable and you need to learn how to carry your own weight. That's extremely important. Even it carries over into that major job offer that you may want that's going to pay you 6 figures. You think they're going to want somebody disorganized? No, you have to have good organization skills. Well, guess where that starts at? It starts at home. It starts where you live. So why not start it now? One other tidbit. The reason why I focus on GPA so much is because you want to make sure you have that high GPA so that you can qualify for scholarships and grants and all of those great things. If your GPA is low, the whole college education will probably be on you if your parents weren't able to, you know, just pay your whole way through school. So you got to kind of understand where you are financially and make sure you don't come out of school in debt like most Americans. It's crazy. That may be why they're working 2-3 jobs, because they're paying off their student loans. So be smart about it. I always try to tell my children, the two that I still have raising right now, that you know, their GPA is extremely important if they don't want to have to take out any loans or anything, so we can get them through school and through college. So it's extremely important. I don't think I'm gonna take long. This is it. I'm almost at, you know, where I need to go. But I thought I would take time out and address these issues because it's important. And your parents love you. Your parents want the best for you, but you have to want the best for yourself. And you have to participate in that. They can't carry you through that. That's something you have to do for yourself. And don't be like everybody else and put school off until you're way almost 30 years old. Then you want to go back to school. Well, that's cool too. You can go back to school as late as you want to go back to school, but you have to realize nobody's going to hire you once you reach a certain age. You're going to have to figure that out. So you're going to have to really either be an entrepreneur. You want to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship takes capital. So you have to save your money while you're working these little jobs that you really don't like, but you're working them for as a stepping stone. Start saving your money. Start investing early in life so that you can be your own boss one day if that's something you want to do. If not, you want a high tier position making 6 figures, it's going to take you being organized. It's going to take you to care about your living environment and the people that you live around. And it's all about not being selfish. We have to have a certain selflessness about ourselves when we live amongst other people. Unless you live alone, you can live as filthy as you want to live. But I guarantee you, how you live is going to reflect how you do your work on the job, how you work at school, how you interact with people. Trust me, it affects your total psyche when you're not organized, neat, clean, and all those things. So again, I'm going to let you guys go. I encourage you to be the best versions of yourselves. Always remember, it's not always just about you. It's about the people that you are around, that you are surrounded with. Think about other people sometimes. It's okay to think about other people sometimes. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't done so, click and subscribe on my channel. I'm going to upload this to YouTube later today. So click and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you. I love you guys. Stay encouraged and be the best versions of yourselves. Bye-bye. Talk to you later.